Hello, welcome to Orange Table Talk. We haven't been here in a little while, but we are back on track. It's a conversation that we want to have every 2 weeks because it's without the conversation, we cannot cause the change. We cannot choose to create action unless we want action we want to create together. And I am Patricia Duncan Sutherland. I'm a gender and leadership advocate into strategic planning, and I'm the president of the People's National Party Women's Movement. And it is in this context that I am hosting Orange Table Talk. And I have the pleasure this evening of having with me Dr. Renee Rattray and Shavane Daly. And I'm going to go into a little bit more about these two when we get some people joining our live. Right, so I am waiting for a little bit more, but while we are there, we're going to do a little bit of a chit chat with Renee and Shavane. And I will do a little bit of their introduction here. Shavane Daly, Father of the Year Award 2021. Wow. Yes, Shavane?
That's amazing.
Yes, so we are honored to be in your presence.
Definitely.
Tell me about that. How you got nominated? How that happened?
Well, honestly, I got a call one day, and I was told that I was nominated for Outstanding Father of the Year for 2021. Up to this day, I'm not sure who nominated me, but I got that award, and it's a wonderful feeling to know that you're giving something by your country. So I'm really happy for that.
Or by your son?
Or by my peers, or I guess my peers would nominate me. Yes.
Yes, and your child is how old?
5, going to be 6 in a few weeks.
A boy or girl?
A girl.
A little girl. Yes, so you are the proud daddy of a 6-year-old daughter.
Yes.
And I want you to understand that Shavane is one of those Jamaicans who has overcome. Shavane went from sighted to no sight. Correct, Shavane?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Wow.
And in all of that, he is Father of the Year. He's an advocate. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, Shavane, until we get some.
All right. So, first, like I say, I'm a father. I'm a proud family man, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And attended Jamaica College. What else?
My father was proud.
I'm a member of that board, so I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, all right, cool. So, I'm an entertainment person. I host a podcast called Entertainment Trail.
Mm-hmm.
And it's entertainment enthusiast. I'm deeply entrenched in the culture of Jamaica and the Caribbean at large. What else about me? I play blind cricket for Jamaica, so I'm a sports person.
Oh. Yes. And my husband is a cricketer.
It's like it was so I guess that's a little bit about me. As an advocacy, I'm a person who lives with a disability, so I aim to do our best we can make life better for persons who are living with disability in Jamaica and the Caribbean at large, really.
That's great. That's great. So I'm very happy to have you here today with us as we're going to have a conversation around education. And as I say the word education, Dr. Renee Rattray, education specialist. She has been principal. She's school inspector. She has been on the Jamaica National Foundation working on their education projects. She has just recently hosted a conference on education. There's a group, what's the name of your group again? I'm trying to remember.
Teach Good, Lead Good.
Teach Good, Lead Good, yes.
But yeah, we run a lot of workshops in Jamaica and in the region. Yeah.
Yes. And so, very, very, very happy to have Renee here with us because today our conversation is going to be about education. And to join us in a short while, once she can get onto some stable Wi-Fi, which which is very indicative of the conversation that we are
times
going to
we're
have,
in.
the times that we are living in, is going to be Elaine Foster Allen. She was a previous principal of Sutherland Teachers College, and her, well, I
Permanent
can't,
Secretary in the
Minister of Education,
Health, Office of the Prime Minister.
and all kinds of things. So her history in education, we really can't talk about it. We just have to just love it and respect it.
Yeah, yeah. She was actually the Chief Inspector of Education, the first Chief Inspector of Education.
And I think also a critical part of the transformation report for education in 2004. We wrote a good report, but I don't think we got to the right transformation. So we still have some work to do. And so today, our conversation is actually going, and I'm hoping that we, our online visitors here that are with us, those who will join us even after we have finished to come and review our recording, will enjoy this conversation and participate and use this conversation because here we are about right now. There was a general on Breakfast Club for anybody. Breakfast Club with the old people, you remember that? That used to say, is a chronic. The situation is a chronic. And right here, so now I would have to say our education system is in a chronic. It's in a chronic because we are in a pandemic and we haven't really had for the last year and a half. And we have started the school year and we don't know how we're going to have school because we have smidgens of school, we have some hints of school, but we don't really have school. Right? And so we need to work.
Students are online.
Students are online.
Not ideal for all our students. Some of them are online.
Yes, some are online, and actually some are actually
and some
in
are
school.
Thriving online,
and some are thriving
in school,
online.
But the vast majority, I would say, are not.
Because there are some private schools that have reopened, and they have everybody at school. I know Hillel has, so that's the advantage that they have. But then our public schools are not open. And that's where the majority of our children are.
Not open face to face.
Not open face to face. Well, they keep saying they are open, but I'm not. Well, so let's talk about that. Online school. How is it working? I mean, you have a 6-year-old. How is it working for you?
Okay, you're hearing me clearly, right?
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly.
Okay. All right, so online school for me, the internet connection is a big thing. I'm in rural Jamaica, right? And we don't have like Wi-Fi settings, like the hotspots, they're not available. So we're basically using third-party internet. So somebody buy it from one of the telecommunication company and resell it. So that's how most persons in rural Jamaica have internet access. Via, I guess we call it satellite internet. So
satellite internet.
Yeah, so if rain fall or breeze blow too hard, you're going to have issues.
Okay.
So online going to school for this will be okay for maybe a 1 or 2 hour, then you'll get kicked off. You go back online, you get kicked off. So it's kind of frustrating in a sense. So it's really tough. But we have to work with what we have until better come, basically.
Yes, and I gather Elaine is trying to connect. So I'm just going to ask if Crystal could just give her a call and help her with the connection, right? Yes, so the online internet access is the biggest issue for you in rural Jamaica. You have the tablet, you have what you need, but you can't get connected.
Yeah, I have the devices, but the connection issue is very poor, and then you have some persons within the same community don't have the devices, so they have to be teaming up with other persons who are in their classes, and that at times can be problematic, because maybe one student go faster than the other student, so one would want to move on, and that one say wait, and then that also can take a toll on the teacher as well. Generally in class you would have to still wait now, but online you have 4 or 5 persons shouting at you. The background noise from the online is very is terrible. As I would say, person where say your brain get liquor, so to speak. You know, a lot of those noises, it can create a big issue.
Yes.
Because even if the teacher is trying to teach, you won't hear anything. And getting used to the devices when to mute and when to unmute, that also posing a challenge as well.
Especially for small children, right?
Yes, definitely for the small children.
With the mute and unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So the and that's for the rural Jamaica. I know, for example, as well for Longwood, there was an article the other day. Longwood actually happens to be in Southeast Clarendon, where a student at Glenmuir says her issue now is they don't even have light because they have intermittent light in Longwood. They have power cuts very regularly. Almost every day they have a power cut for at least 6 hours of the daytime, so they miss out on school.
So do you find that the people, because what I'm seeing is like pockets of people getting together in different communities, right?
Yes.
You know, on the veranda and
Yes.
you know, parent, you know, kind of supervising the work wherever there is strong Wi-Fi. I think that that's something that we're seeing in growing numbers right now. And then students helping other students as well is it has to be the way to go, right?
Well,
That's
and
how
it just looks
this.
obvious to me, and it looks like actually the opportunity in education for me, because you will remember the youth in St. Anne that
Yes.
everybody visited and helped him fix up his little bar there and get him whiteboard, and he was helping everybody to the younger students in his community. So if we can get to a place where we can have community facilitation to allow for the access to be better, then maybe we can solve half of the problem, because we're not quite ready to go back to school yet. We just saw the report coming out of the US saying that the hospitalizations for children has gone up from 5% to 27%.
Wow.
The Delta variant. So we have to work through how we're going to get to safety and how we're going to get to an optimal way for children to be able to learn in this space. A real problem for us. So, but can we formalize community schooling?
I mean, I think that we have enough people in our communities, retired teachers and persons who would be more than willing to support and facilitate sessions during a work day.
Yes.
Many of them are home and would love to become involved. And right now, I just feel that all hands have to get on deck where this is concerned. That we have to mobilize that support.
Yeah.
And get people out. I remember that chalkboard teacher who was in Trenchtown.
Yes.
She got about 4 or 5 other teachers to go around to communities to write the information on the chalkboards. And this was just on bars, on shops, anywhere she could find them, and the students would come there
and sit down with us too.
Yeah. And I mean, now she's providing meals for them and sending them off. And there are people in the community who are volunteering to do it.
That's right.
So I think it's absolutely possible for us to do that.
I do really believe that. And the other thing is, as you mentioned, the meals, because a big part of the missing in schools right now is that almost 50% of our students were on par. And therefore their main meal for the day was what they got at school. And so they're not getting that now. So nutrition becomes a problem. So if we are able to organize community schooling, we can organize also the feeding of our community, of our children.
But in order to get there, Trisha, my feeling is that we don't have the data. Like, I need to know where all these students are.
Well, why do we really have the data? Not have the data, or we have the data and we're not using the data, and we're not tapping into it. I think that's more what it is.
Because surely members of parliament, CDC, what do you call that, community organization?
They are right. The CDCs,
churches would have their people. I just feel that there must be a way for us to pinpoint where all these missing. And I know the ministry is embarking on this drive to find over 120,000 who they say are. Yeah,
but it's not that hard to find. I'm a little concerned that they think that they can't find them. But I just want to pause and welcome Elaine.
Hi,
Elaine Foster
Patricia. Good evening.
And we have and you have online as well, Elaine Chavane.
Of course, all the online guests.
Yes.
Good evening. Welcome.
Hi. Yes. So we're just talking about the fact that we have a chronic in the education system right now. It's a chronic. You remember that saying? It's a chronic. Now, Mr. Millwood used to say that about the transportation system in Jamaica. It's a chronic. And so our education system is a chronic. And with that in mind, we are thinking about what are the solutions. So that's what this conversation is about, the solutions. So we're just talking about, Shabane is from rural Jamaica, and he is a sight challenged parent, father of the year no less for 2021, right, from the School of Gender Studies.
Right.
And he was speaking about his experience with his 6-year-old daughter, that they don't have reliable internet.
Right.
And they have hotspots that they share. But then from time to time, if rainfall, then they don't have reliable internet. If too many people are on, everybody can't get access.
Right.
And then there are lots of children sharing devices. So no one child seems to be able to get a full day of school in this online school setting, which is what we are in now.
Right.
Right. So we are all disadvantaged. So that led us to the fact that, first of all, in his community, clearly there's some kind of community schooling because everybody's gathering together to share a hotspot. So if we could formalize that, and then we're talking about the young man from St. Anne, and we talk about the teacher from Frenchtown who use the blackboards. How do we formalize community facilitation of learning to be able to get, in this dispensation, a better outcome?
Right.
And I dare say, and I want to throw this out to you, maybe that's the way we should be going. Because right now, all information is available online. Should we not be using this as our opportunity to move from teaching and from chalk and talk to facilitation and self-directed learning by our children?
Well,
So I will put you on the spot with that.
okay, no problem. Well, the first thing is that I'm actually speaking to you from my sister's house. She's about 5 minutes from where I live.
Yes.
About 5 minutes to the other side of me is a primary school. I live in rural St. Andrew. We've had a problem for the past 3 weeks because thieves have taken down the cable wires.
Okay.
So we have no internet to speak of. The backup system has been intermittent and all of that. Now, I was speaking to the principal of the local primary school who said, I need to use the church hall because at least at the church, there is some internet facility, Wi-Fi and so on. So we might not need to look to the powers that be up there. We need to look at what we have in our localities, who we have, what resources are there, and how we can link up those resources and people to the benefit of our children.
I'm getting goose pimples.
System leadership.
Yes, that we need the principals to take ownership of how we're going to make this work.
And we've been, well, in discussions in other places, we've been championing that, saying that this top-down thing does not actually work for everyone. Neither can you say, well, let's go and join everybody together in a QEC. The QEC is like a whole constituency. You need to have smaller groups of people working together, principals and teachers and parents, and children who are in walking distance of wherever the resources are.
Yeah, but I want to put something else on the table as we talk about it. Because as we talk about the community, the children communities are getting together, right? We have 762 primary schools, it is something like that. Some figure like that, close to that. And our opposition spokesperson on education put it out there. And I'm kind of in agreement with her. For our smaller primary schools, why aren't we in face-to-face? They all live in the same community. Usually these schools are large. They have enough space to spread the children out. Why wouldn't they be in face-to-face school? They're playing with each other anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the things that I've always been thinking about as well, Like, for example, where I live, Northwest Clarendon, to be exact. Well, I don't recognize any case of COVID even up there. in my community, so to speak, and those children play together every
Every
day.
day.
And I think they could go to school because they had summer school, they were going to summer school, and everything was fine.
Using the protocols, observing the
The
protocols.
protocols.
And yes, once observing the protocols, I think everything will be fine.
Exactly.
And if the issue is the teacher getting to school, then that's now we need to work through some process of
How that can be done.
reorganizing the teacher cohort so that they
Mhm.
are teaching closer to their community.
And in places where they're more populated, look at transportation. Look at how we get people to and from safely.
To school.
Yes, to school
Yes.
safely.
Yes.
Some can walk, but I've long felt that there could be, and we've talked about transportation for a long time,
Right.
organizing
This- student transportation, because it is part of the whole process of making our children feel valued and feel respected. How do they get to school? But I just want, before we go on to transportation, I just want to acknowledge Sonia McPherson, who is online and commenting, saying very interesting. And I think that comment came at the point where we were talking about facilitated teaching and self-directed learning for our children, which we need to get back to. But on the point of education, I want to bring that in the context of, our schools really should be the space where our children feel safest, our children feel most loved, our children feel that they are a valuable part of our society. Right now, even without COVID, a child going to school on public transportation in Jamaica, by the time they reach school, they are harassed. They are squeezed into a taxi with 12 other children. Themselves, small up yourself some more. Little girls are forced to sit on the laps of little boys. I mean, it is a very harrowing experience for young children going to school in Jamaica on public transportation. And we have spoken about school bus system, and we have done one or two pilots. I know there's one in Southeast Clarendon, and I know there's one, I think, might be in Mandeville or another part of Clarendon.
Right.
Can we, and I'll see how McIntosh put this out, can we stagger the hours? Can we say adults do not go to work until 9 o'clock in the morning? So children alone are on the buses between 7 and 8:30, right? Or 7 and 8 o'clock. It's children alone, or designated buses, right? But move the children along. But I would say stagger it, not just designate, but stagger it, because we don't want them in the transportation center with the adults.
Absolutely.
Because we don't want to cause. I mean, we have spoken about it. The polls have shown that the biggest point of spread is in the transportation centers. They're crowded.
Patricia,
Yes.
you also need to remember that some schools actually have their own school buses. And there are schools that have linked up with each other, especially I think when we had a problem in Manchester, Trelawney, St. Elizabeth. Some schools actually bought school buses, or they were able to hire buses to transport their children.
And teachers,
So the framework is already there. What needs to happen is that we need to build on that framework of providing transportation for our children that's safe and timely, because we don't want our children to be missing out on too much time they've already missed out. The other thing I'd want to say is that if the principals could actually think about how they stagger the children coming in as well.
Yes.
Children coming in, let us say from 7:30 till 10:30, and then there's a break so that another small group can come in, say at 11 till 1, and at least you have 2 groups in a day. And again, you prioritize which children do you need to have in school at this time.
Yeah, because anything is better than nothing at this point.
Exactly.
And I do believe that we put it up now.
The protocols, right?
Yes.
That is set within the protocols is better than doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I do believe that we could do this, but I do believe that we need to call for it in a more vociferous, in a more louder way, because I don't believe that our Ministry of Education is seeing the solution. They are stuck at the solution being vaccination. And vaccination will come, but it's not coming till the next year.
Right.
But we'll have enough vaccines for even 40% of our population,
Right.
just about 40% by December. But we don't know if we're going to get enough any more Pfizer for the children. So we don't know. So we can't change anything on vaccination.
I so agree with you. I think the ministry it's just fraught with too many things happening at the same time, and maybe they have not, as far as I'm seeing. Okay, let me backtrack. There was a document sent out about March, perhaps around about June, July of last year.
Mm-hmm.
The same document was sent out again in September, maybe a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
I looked through the document and I thought, let me see if there is any new learning that has been integrated into that document. I haven't found any new learning. One of the things that we need to hold the Ministry of Education to is this. What have you learned in regard to managing education during a pandemic, and how have you been able to develop, in inverted commas, a pandemic education system that still allows for our children to be educated?
Yes.
Right?
Go ahead.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
one of the things that I think we have to do is bring different people to the table.
Yes.
That's the challenge that I find. Because that's the only way we're going to get the best ideas. I think that we're having one-off meetings, meeting with the PSOJ to update them on things, or but I think that in every discussion, whether it be at the school level or at the level of the Ministry of Education, there has to be a representative from all kinds of people at the table. So for JUTC should be engaged
at the table.
They should be at the table when we're talking about solutions like this.
I think the first thing, though, is that they have to have an intention to have face-to-face education. Because if you don't have an intention to have face-to-face education, you will not come up with a solution.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that's what's missing from the conversation. Because you're not even thinking about the possibilities.
Well, I'm hearing that, and of course the encouragement is to have people become vaccinated. But I think it has to be, we're not going to make one blanket decision that there's no school, no face-to-face for everybody, because that just does not make sense. And we began, I remember, having a discussion about which schools were where and which students could get to school. I'm not hearing that discussion happening anymore. Because if we knew that the students in Treasure Beach, in Balaclava, in wherever they can get to school and get to school safely, then they should be at school.
Yes.
You know that the students up in Clarendon, in Moko and Kebitz and wherever can go, then send them to school. But I'm not certain that we have done that mapping. And that's what I think we need to do. Then we figure out how to do that.
Yes.
Right?
But as you said, also doing it from the level of the school directed solutions.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be directed to say, give me a plan for October. These are some of the things that we are thinking about. Tell us what you need us to support you with to get it done. I don't know if that is occurring. It's more of a top-down occurrence. They've gotten the manual.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
and one of the things that we need to look at was look on getting the school back together in face-to-face is look at the internet connectivity in schools. Even if they're going face-to-face, I remember they're speaking about even if we go back to face-to-face, a lot of persons will still be using some aspect of technology. So it's to get that integrated approach where you both face-to-face and technology. And with guided approach with the teacher and student in front of each other, I think that would work better. But the internet activity has to be there, and it has to be a good one. So it cannot be no riff-raff thing. It has to be as good as what is in Kingston, so to speak.
Yes, and I know that they're working on this, to be fair to the government. And I heard there was an announcement last week around connecting the schools. And I know that they are working on the GovNet to link all of the government agencies together. It has been a plan that has been around for a while. I think it's coming out of the ground now, is my understanding, right? However, it's not. I'm not sure that it's going to come out of the ground fast enough for us to be able to rely only on that. So that must happen, and we're going to continue to push for that. I agree with you, Shavane. But in the meantime, we have to know, like Northwest Clarendon doesn't have good internet. What is the solution for up in your community? What's the name of your community, Shavane?
Bloomwell.
Blue Mile.
No, Bloomwell.
Bloomwell. Bloomwell.
Yes.
I don't know Bloomwell.
So that's Victoria, Thompsontown, Sunbury, Sheffield, Belcaris, Reaches, the whole, yeah. There's the Reaches in the Reaches division.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm seeing some comments here. I'm trying to read them, and if it glares in the eye.
Melanated Queen says the money that the government is saving from paying light, water, and maintenance for schools should be used to get devices for both students and teachers. Schools also need more teachers in the system. The ratio should be 20 or less students to one teacher. We could zone the schools and teachers, put them closer to home.
Yes, but this is also the opportunity for that. Are we looking at this pandemic as an opportunity or not? Because if we find a way to make education work, where children are not having to travel as far and teachers are not having to travel as far, would that not be a better permanent solution? Could we relook at how we are using our resources now? Is there an opportunity here for this?
Absolutely. I really agree with that approach. One of the things that we need to remember is that when you have persons with different capacities living within a community, the community is better able, people in the community are better able to advocate on behalf of, the community, on behalf of children. So if you have teachers near to where they teach, that's a good thing. And I grew up in that sort of community. My teachers were just down the road. So they knew me, I knew them. They could advocate for me. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity to do education differently. And we're not only talking about the teachers, we're also talking about those other persons with resources in the community, pulling that in, right? And saying, no, this is our community. How can we make sure that the children in our community benefit? Because look here, we're not investing in today alone. We're investing in a future, 5, 10, 20, 30 years down the line.
And I love Rashid's comment, don't waste a good crisis.
That's correct.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Yes. And the crisis isn't over, so we don't have to waste it. So
absolutely.
If we determine that we want to get everybody at the table and we can come up with these solutions, we can actually do it. And as you say, Elaine, maybe it doesn't have to be driven from the center. Maybe we're going to have to drive it from the individual schools and pulling schools together in different areas.
Right.
Go ahead.
Patricia, let me just say that over the past year and a half, I've personally been involved in talking to principals and teachers about what obtains in their own schools and in their communities. Hundreds of teachers, hundreds of principals, I'm sure. And at every occasion, they have said, we have been able to try this, to put this in place. And we were just about to put it into operation. And then we got an instruction from the ministry that caused us to pause, to stop. So it's not that you don't have your teachers and principals who can do things, who have been trying things. And in fact, some of them have been doing things, I have to say, under the radar, because some of them have said, well, we cannot sit around and wait for the ministry to tell us what to do. And I think that is the approach I would have taken. I remember when I was an education officer going down to Trenchdown by Charlie Smith, and at the time the principal was Pauletta Chevans.
Yes.
And it was a difficult environment.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. Pauletta took that school and the opportunities that the school offered her and turned them into wonderful teaching, learning experiences. it was a haven for those children. And that's what you need to do. In fact, when I went to the school and I said, but Mrs. Chavance, what you're doing works. He said, well, you must be one of the first education officers to ever say that. But we need to validate the principles.
Yes.
The work that
there's so many of them doing greatness right now.
And maybe that's what we need to be doing, is highlighting those
highlight them,
and helping them, and how we get those ideas shared. But was that was that where change from within came from?
Pauletta was part of the change from within.
Yes, part of that genesis. Because the other part of it, that for me, that this crisis, the opportunity it presents for us, we are having a crisis in morality. We are having a crisis in our social fabric of our country. We say we have a crisis in parenting. This creates the opportunity for us to put social workers into our communities, to partner with our parents, to partner with our children, to partner with the communities, to create the kind of country that we want. I've always said it, we need an army of social workers and not an army of soldiers if we're going to solve crime, if we're going to solve parenting, if we're going to solve unlocking our potential as of our human capital.
And you and I have talked, Patricia, about community schooling a lot, and one of the things that I've observed some models in other parts of the world and gone to visit some of them, and one of the things that's really interesting about that is that they partner, each community partners with a school, a university, a health provider, a supermarket, all of the supporting services, like wraparound services that a school needs. So the school becomes a hub, and it is school in the day, it becomes, training for parents in the night, it provides health, dental care, all of that in one place. And the great thing about the social workers is that those can come, they can do their internships.
There.
So if Manchester, for example, NCU and all the students they're producing who are studying for whatever it is that they're studying, everything can then be deployed in schools.
Absolutely.
To provide the support that we need, because guidance counselors and deans of discipline are stretched. They're not able to provide the support they need. And we really have to begin to tap into this community effort if we're going to break the back of
right.
And I really believe that we can do it. Shavane, what do you think about that? Can you see your community operating high school, primary school, basic school within your community in a facilitated way, without any children leaving your community? Can you see that occurring?
Yeah, man, definitely. I think that can happen, because as I said earlier, all the students basically they are there together. Most of the teachers are from the community, and generally, if they are doing something in the community, the business places in the community normally offer support. So I think once it's a coordinated effort, I think it will definitely work, because it's a strong community, and I guess I could say we love each other, so I think it will work.
And more Jamaican communities have a lot of love occurring within the communities, and we think, though with all of this violence, they just need some help to work out conflict resolution. They need some help to work through just even working out how to be the great father that Shavane is.
My road, we took away in Garden Town, and we are the most loving community. Name is Garden Town. To carry each other's gas cylinder across the breakaway to find out how we do garbage. I mean, we become close because the crisis has created
that closeness and the opportunity you get to know each other.
Yeah.
And not to be left out of this, so is my little street.
Yes.
Yes, and I also think that the whole issue of the social worker, the counselor, the guidance and counselor would make it even a better experience, because if you have more of those persons within the community, not only attached to the school, but it can play a role like a mediation role for issues. I think that will go a far way as well.
Absolutely. And even for our students, our older students, they need to be giving service, right?
That's right.
And
so like a mentorship program or something like that. Sorry. Yes.
Absolutely.
So the question is, how would we get this started? Because, I don't want to just talk about it, because it starts with the conversation, but it can't end with the conversation. We need to be able to have something to do. But before I even do that, I just have to acknowledge Herline Kitson Walters. This is my partner in education from Southeast Clarendon, and her husband, Dr. Walters. I want to just big you up, and you're online. I'm not able to read your comment because I have declared ministry appears to.
Education is dirty work. She wants the ministry to get there.
She wants the ministry to get down and and participate.
Yeah, the other thing that I think we speak about but don't actually put into effect in a consistent and sustainable way is the diaspora. And we have an opportunity now. There's so many teachers I know who live overseas, who are Jamaican, who would love an opportunity to connect with students in Jamaica and support education. And we're always asking for teams, but for those students who are online, they can
also help, and they can also help with homework supervision.
They can help with lots of things, and so it requires coordination, but it can happen.
Okay.
But what I would like to see is a group of principals, and again, it's happening, but I would like to see them come out and say, look, we have been doing this. Here is our template. Here is our framework. This is how we have approached a face-to-face situation. This is what it has meant for us in terms of staffing, in terms of the internet, in terms of resources, in terms of curriculum. I think that if we're talking about action, I'm sure we could call this evening on a group of principals to come forward and tell us what they have been doing, what they have planned, which bits have worked, which bits have not worked, and to actually set out a sort of template that could be used in different places. Maybe you need scenarios, right? And you say, okay, if it's a small school or a group of small schools in my districts, there are 3 primary schools that are within a 3-mile radius of each other. Now, it would be really good to see those 3 principals come together and say, look, this is what has worked for us. This is our context. These are the children we have. We haven't seen X number of children for X number of days, months, weeks, whatever. We think we have the capacity. Ministry of Education, we have that capacity to do A and B and C, but we cannot do E, F, G, H, right? So how about this? This is what it will cost us. It will cost us so much in human capital. So we need 2 more teachers or 3 more teachers. Give us some more internet, Wi-Fi, whatever, data, instruments, so that we can do a combination of face-to-face and so on. We have some excellent teachers who are able to teach math in that school, right? So let's use the math teachers from that school to do the math.
Well, which is, again, coming back to the facilitated learning. And to say, so like in this school, maybe the math teacher is over here at Mitchelltown Primary, and the English teacher is over here at Watsontown Primary. And because we are getting used to using the internet and learning, we can have the facilitator in the space with them, and they are working it through. So we have some really great opportunities here. So maybe where we should start is a workshop with principals.
Yeah, we have to validate the principals, and I think that's the work that you and I do in schools all the time with principals, to have them understand that what they are doing is powerful work, and it works. But sometimes our principals don't document the things that they're doing, don't consider them a model for how they can do better. And I mean, that would be my message to principals who are listening here and teachers who are listening here, that you do have the power to make a change where you are, and you need to see it as that, and do the work. Because but very often we don't do what you were describing, Elaine, which is say how much things cost, work it out, come up with a plan, and that's where persons who are in the community can help.
I know, and I know sometimes, so to be fair to those principals who don't work out the cost, is that there is some amount of frustration. Yeah, because I have actually worked in the QEC 62, actually, with the principals there for those primary schools, about 13 primary schools. And it's hard for them to put themselves in that space because when they ask, they get nothing. Like out of those 13 primary schools in 2019, only one primary school got any money to prepare for the next school year. It was like $1 million. Nobody else got anything. So they felt like it was futile. So that's part of it. So we have to work out how to break that. But in this context, we have to find a way, and so we have to also pressure the ministry to be able to say to schools, we are willing to listen to your solution and facilitate face-to-face if you can establish that it is safe. Exactly. And it does not put the child at any more risk than they already are.
Sure. Absolutely.
You know? Because pulling children together within a community, if they are already together, should we not just be able to say, principals, work with that? If your children are within a 5-mile radius, they are in one community, and therefore they can come to the school. Should that even be a starting point to get some face-to-face occurring? Because if we don't, then we just be in the conversation forever.
Right.
Yeah. The 65% vaccinated, I get that for high school, to tell you honestly, because a high school is like a super spreader. High school with 1,000 students in there is like a super spreader event. Every day you are traveling on the bus, going to school, mixing up with 1,000 people and going home. That's like a super spreader event. But because start with the primary schools.
Patricia, you know what is important? The most important issue for us must be the big question. What sort of education do we want for our children? Do we want an educated society? We have made leaps and bounds and we've moved forward. And now in 2021, for some children, it's as if we never started.
Yes.
For some children.
It is. It is. And it is very unfortunate. And we already had 2 Jamaicas in our education system. Exactly. We already had that. We already had 2 very distinct education systems, and now it is further exacerbated. The divide has grown. The divide has grown because a child in a home that has stable internet, that have a parent who is at home, who is available to them, that have a parent who can employ a teacher to be available to them. Quite frankly, and lots of people are doing that, having facilitated learning at home because they are at work. But it's not the same for the majority of Jamaicans. And how are we going to fix that? And we have to fix it. We have to start now. So we have to ball out loud. We need the Ministry of Education to free up face-to-face schools sooner rather than later, and do it in consultation with the principals. We are calling for workshops within groups of principals that have similar types of schools to come up with their face-to-face formula, especially for primary school. Let's start there. Let's get the primary school out, and then we can work out the high school. You know what I mean? But I'd really love to work out high school before, because I don't really see. I think we can work through the transportation system. We can make that call as well. Yeah, that we can do transportation for high school students. Let's get high school students to school in a safe way.
Absolutely.
That's what we can start for them. And as you say, stagger it. That's the other idea that came up. Stagger it for the high school students.
Right.
Stagger it for the high school students. So we don't have the super spreader. We have a small amount of children at school at one time.
Right.
Specialized transportation for high school students. And for the larger primary schools, because like Dunrobin and Halfway Tree now, they have children coming from all over. So they would have to have some specialized transportation. But
yeah, and that note as well too, we have to look at the students who are special needs, or students who are living with a disability, because they mostly right. You have different levels of disability, right? And like for me as a blind person, generally learn by hearing. But then you have those who say intellectual disability. They're not the one who will be highly, would say, quote unquote educated, but they're more touch based or more vocational. So
Yes.
they definitely need to be in class. You understand? So they need to be something. As I said, back to school. It has to come on board because those persons will be suffering more than anyone else. I'm telling you.
So one of the keys to be going face to face is to have really a transportation system for our children.
Right.
This is not beyond us. This is not beyond us, even if it is going to be temporary because we say we can't bake it into the budget. Right now, I think we can start there with our transportation system for our children. They were paying to go to school anyway. They will pay to go to school. It's not that it's going to be free, but it's just going to be for them and them alone, and nobody else can go on that bus except them. And then we have to have a specialized transportation for our children with disabilities, but that's even a smaller cohort. So we can start there. Those who need to be prioritized, we can do a priority to get it going.
Well, there's actually one it's in Kingston, say, but it still need to be expanded to rural Jamaica as well. But there,
Right.
I think they have 3 buses that do that in Kingston.
Okay,
But
and
I think they need more buses as well.
Okay.
Most of those schools are face to face right now. Trevin, like
Again?
are some of those schools open right now? I'm not sure.
No,
Sutherland
Sutherland is at the moment they're online at the moment, and I'm telling you, it's proving difficult.
I can
Right.
Telling you, it's difficult for them.
So why can't
Well,
we?
you know,
Go ahead.
I was just thinking about what Shavane has said, that sometimes we forget that people with special educational needs and disabilities do need extra support in order to learn.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking about accommodations, technical instruments, and so on. And I'm not sure at this point in time what the level of provision is for those students. And that's probably another area that we need to look at very carefully, because look here, when you have a situation of inequality and you put inequality on top of inequality, you are going to be, you're totally disenfranchising children. You are alienating them from the education process. And I think, we just need to be more aggressive. Sometimes honestly, I feel a little paralyzed, and I just want to get up and put on my big hat and go down the road, go protest and make them say me mad. But
Okay. So let's be mad together. We need to find a way
make a difference.
to make a difference. We need to find a way to amplify our voices on this one.
yes.
We need face-to-face school. It is not beyond us. Let us say by November 1, we must have a solution and get back to face-to-face. We need to demand from our Minister of Education that there needs to be more dialogue on this matter.
Right.
And we know that we can start with our children with disabilities because it's a smaller cohort. Transport them to school and send them back to school.
Yeah.
So that is an easy one.
And for the Salvation Army School for the Blind, it's a boarding institution, and generally they are locked in for the most, and they normally only go home like an holiday. So I don't see why they can't have face to face, because they're always on the compound.
They're boarding and they can't have face.
They're boarding. They're always on the compound.
That's a policy decision that has to be looked at and to work out, is this policy decision working for our people? It is not working for our people. And we need to look at the transportation for our high school students and larger primary schools. Right? It's a percentage of our population, but it is something that we can deal with because we don't have the primary school children are vaccinated anyway. We don't have a vaccine for them. So I don't know how that can be a requirement, but there's no vaccine for them.
Right. That is the truth. That is the truth, Pat.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's the, when I talk about being mad, it's the angry mad we're talking about. I was just
so let's be the mad, angry black women, and black man.
Yes. Come on. Yes.
So we are going to take some action. We're going to have to call out. We are going to have to. This is going to have to be our conversation at least over the next 2 weeks. We are going to have to ball it out loud.
Yeah.
We are going to have to be not just writing articles, but having the conversations. Let's talk education. We need face-to-face. It is not beyond
And I
us.
mean, we haven't even talked in depth about the psychosocial aspect of things and how students. There are some students who don't know what their schools look like.
True.
Yes.
And who have not, those first formers and second
And the grade
formers,
1 students and the grade 2 students, they don't know.
And schools do not just function as places for learning academics. It really is a place for nurturing and teaching all this socializing and nurturing the people. And our students are losing that. They're losing that, and it's critical that we get back.
And Renee, we also must remember that for some children, school is the safest place to be.
Yes. And we need to make it even safer.
And we need to make it safer.
Yes. So, we are 4 angry, mad, Jamaicans who are going to make a difference, and who are going to start raising our voices. And we are inviting Herline and Richard and Melody Queen and Hazel Kennedy to join and make the voices louder, and all of those online to make the voices louder. We are going to talk in education. We're going to see every headline in Jamaica. We've called every reporter this week. We are asking you, make the headline be, how are we going to fix education? It's ours to fix.
We have one other person online who is going to join us, Miss Herline.
Yes, Herline. You see Elaine calling on you.
She said me ready. Dirty work, I tell you. We all need to be more aggressive about the education of our children.
Absolutely. No bystanders.
That's right. So I am going to be calling on the members of the PNP Women's Movement to help us to amplify our voice in this regard. Yes, there are many things that we need to be advocating for, but the next 2 weeks, it's going to be education, education, education. It's the top of our list. Our children need to be back in face-to-face school.
And that's the way to go, I think, because women are the ones who are currently, Shavane, I just respect you, what you're doing and all of that. And there are some men who are doing that. But women are facing the brunt of the issues right now.
Yes, it is true. Would you agree, Shavane?
And we need to stand. We need to stand.
Yes.
With the women, with our women.
And we are going to stand with our fathers who are choosing to stand.
To stand, yes.
Yes. Because Shavane is choosing, as well as that young father who chose to stand up for his child who was abused by the stepfather. We know we have fathers who are choosing to stand. But we know that in our society, women bear the brunt of the education and the raising of our children in this moment. We intend to make it equal. But in this moment, we are going to stand up because we are there.
Well, definitely, we need more men to stand, definitely for sure. Because even in the classes my daughter is in, I think maybe I'm the only men that interact on a regular basis. You understand? It's a partnership effort with my child and her mom. So it's not like I'm doing it all by myself, but the men need to step up to the plate, definitely.
Celebrating.
We're so grateful to people like you.
Yes, we really are. And so, Elaine, Renee, and Shavane, thank you very much. I am all fired up the next 2 weeks. Listen out for all of us. You will hear our voices. Everybody's committed. We are going to be calling everybody on education for the next 2 weeks. Education, education, education.
Education. Priority 1, priority 2, priority 3.
I have heard Angela, she has come out calling for the face-to-face. Angela Brownberg, that is the opposition spokesperson. I believe that the ministry and the minister wants face-to-face, but we are going to push them because it doesn't have to wait on vaccination. We can do this. The solutions are ours to find and ours to put forward.
Indeed.
And these are our children. Thank you all very much. It's just been Orange
Thank you
Table
for
Talk,
having
and
me.
guys, it's great to come
Thank
back
you.
like this.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank
man,
all
thanks for having me.
online,
Thank you very much.
Javine, Elaine, Renee, and join us in another 2 weeks when we're going to give our report on our education push, education for the next 2 weeks. Thank you all very much to our listeners online and to all of those who commented and participated.
Wonderful.
See you in another
Thank
2
you for
weeks.
having me.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
Good.
Take good care.